The Western Illinois University student who's accused of shooting his roommate in September appeared in court in person for the first time here at the McDonough County Courthouse. 18-year-old Kavion Populus is currently 2 blocks away inside the McDonough County Jail after pleading not guilty in front of the judge. And it's hard to find anyone who wants to vote yes on this measure. I went to the local gas station to hear what residents have to say, and everyone I talked to said they want the sale of alcohol. Mike says this chair will make a difference for him because it's going to give him the ability to do what he has not been able to do for years, but now making this possible will be able to let him talk to people while standing. Welcome back. We continue our series into the death investigation of former WIU graduate Tyler Smith, who was found dead in Galesburg last September. Today we break down more of what the family feels has been a hard time trying to get justice for their son. And from this fence, the family says a few things could have happened. Tyler would have to walk across these railroad tracks and either come down this concrete incline, or someone may have brought him in a vehicle through these gates if they had the key. Now, if he was still on foot, he would be walking through this canal in water, slipping and falling, and then somehow end up all the way down there in the canal. But it's all of these unanswered questions that still has the family trying to get to the bottom of what happened. Discussions are continuing into the future of the Western Illinois University Quad Cities campus. This all comes after city leaders say WIU has not lived up to its promises for the QC campus and the region. That's why they're calling on a new university to take over. School officials say this playground went up just toward the end of the school year. A few weeks after, it caught fire. And while people in the community still want answers, they say it's great to see the support. And how much fun is that? Fun! Well, it's fun like this that's giving these kids something to do in the hot weather, get out the house, but also interact with firefighters. And these big green monkey ball brains, you see, they've all fallen from the tree, but what can they be used for? And as far as more surveillance video goes on this street, other than the Casey's, the family says they asked this business right here, but by the time they checked their cameras, they didn't see Tyler on them. Now, across the street, there's another building, which at the time, they didn't have any cameras. Now they do. The family says if Tyler would have kept walking down this street, he would have made contact with that fence and would have had to go around. Macomb City officials say they look forward to the opening of the family shelter, especially to help people who have fallen on hard times. The shooter is still at large right now. That's what we're being told. Just one student injured, and as of right now, we don't know the extent of their injuries. The latest update is that the shooting suspect, the WIU freshman, 18-year-old Kavion Populus, has turned himself in Chicago. Take a look at video as deputies walked him into the building Tuesday. He held his head down coming in, but during the hearing, he shook his head in denial to accusations told by police and the state's attorney's office. The judge took up a motion to possibly reduce Populus's bond, which is set at $1 million, but it was denied. Also during the hearing, police released the name of the other student they say Populus shot, a Marion Hargrove, who is still recovering. A WIU detective was first to take the stand as he gave his account after interviewing Hargrove, Populus, and several other people involved. Police say Populus was having issues with Hargrove over girls earlier that evening. The girls were with Populus and Hargrove on a bus, but once one of the girls felt threatened by Populus, they all got off. The detective said that's when Populus told the group, "Y'all are falling into my trap." A couple hours later, the resident assistant in Thompson Hall tried to separate Populus and Hargrove into different rooms, but they both declined. Hargrove later went back to the RA and said threats were being made by Populus. Populus then walked up on the conversation, and from there, police say he yelled, "Why did you do that?" Back in the students' dorm room, police say Hargrove pushed Populus, and then Populus pulled a gun out of his backpack, shooting the victim 5 times. Police said they later found the gun in a wooded area outside of Thompson Hall. And Populus's family was in the courtroom during the hearing. His mom was very emotional. She didn't want to go on camera, but she accuses the RA of lying about their side of the story, but she wouldn't explain further. A pretrial hearing is set for January 5th. Hargrove is expected to make a full recovery. In Macomb, reporting for News 3, I'm Devin Brooks.
Talk about it every once in a while.
For more than 80 years, a town in McDonough County has been dry.
Thinking about us, being dry all these years when other towns, had approved.
Colchester Mayor Francie Welch says that approval has failed 4 times in the town.
People think they need to be voting yes when they need to be voting no.
On November 3rd, residents in Colchester will have yet another chance to allow the sale of alcohol.
I really do believe that's because they're not reading it. 47, 48, 49, let's see if we can find the 73.
Colchester City Clerk Donna Wetzel says the last time the measure was voted on was back in 1973.
About 230.
Welch says back then, 230 residents signed a petition to get the alcohol referendum back on the ballot. It didn't pass, but now fast forward to 2020.
Well, we just started walking, my wife and I, and like I said, in the evenings, get 10 or 12 names.
Longtime resident Randy Weir went door to door and collected 270 signatures, even though only 225 were needed.
And next thing you know, it's adding up, and I'm thinking, well, I believe it's going to maybe work.
And it's hard to find anyone who wants to vote yes on this measure. I went to the local gas station to hear what residents have to say, and everyone I talked to said they want the sale of alcohol. We're doing a story on the liquor vote here in Colchester. I'm doing a story on the liquor vote.
Number one is time. It's time. There's never been alcohol for years in this town.
But now in the town of about 1,500, it'll be up to the voters once again.
I would have people come in to my office and want to know what they had to do to get alcohol on the ballot.
In Colchester, reporting for News 3, I'm Devin Brooks.
I believe we should keep a local police department.
The future of policing in Colchester is unknown as city officials try to decide what law enforcement presence will serve and protect the area.
I feel like that we need to get a new chief appointed as soon as possible.
Since the end of August, the Colchester Police Department has been without a police chief, leaving city officials scrambling about what to do.
Just because we don't have a chief doesn't mean we need to just look at disbanding it.
Newly elected Alderman Mike Eddy says if the officials decided to keep the Colchester Police Department, a new chief would need to be hired. But if aldermen vote to disband the department, city leaders would have to create a contract with the McDonough County Sheriff's Office.
They need to listen to the public. They need to listen to the voters.
Here is one of the Colchester police cars, which sits here all during the day. The only time this vehicle would come out is during the evening and overnight. So that leaves little to no police presence if something were to happen during the day.
When the schools are filling up and when the schools are empty, let's get cops out there.
We really need to have more coverage.
Eddy says the department currently has 5 part-time police officers who only patrol at night. He says after the chief resigned, a sheriff's deputy was assigned to the area until Sheriff Nick Pettigrew pulled the contract with Colchester. But residents still want something done quick.
This is not something I want to be reactive to. Some kid got hit or killed, and then we decide, hey, we should put a police officer there. Should have been there from the get-go.
We've tried asking questions to the police committee chairman, Kevin Bloomfield, but he's not been willing to talk much about the issue.
Things have been difficult. Yes, and we're trying to get over that.
Residents like Kay Mowen say officials need to put the safety of the community first.
I think they just all need to work together.
People are saying their final goodbyes to a family-owned restaurant in Rockford after nearly 30 years in business. 13 News reporter Devin Brooks finds out why some customers say eating Chinese food in Rockford may never be the same.
Imperial Palace.
A local restaurant is serving its last meals.
You know, I remember when you guys first started coming here and he was so little.
Imperial Palace is closing its doors after 27 years of business in Rockford.
Service is great. The food's great. I usually get the chicken and broccoli, so I guess I'll have to search out another good restaurant.
It's kind of hard to close.
It is.
They've been doing for so long.
So 4 egg rolls total.
Owners Paul and Karen Lai opened up the Chinese restaurant back in the early 90s, quickly turning into a family business.
My parents opened this restaurant when I was 6 years old. He was 5 years old, so we've been running around this place forever.
But after losing too many cooks, the Lai family says it's time to close the business.
We've tried to train several new chefs, but it's just been really difficult.
There are customers here that say they've been coming for more than 20 years, and they say there's a lot they're going to miss.
It's going to hurt the heart, but the lunchtime lunch specials are the best. So just really we'll miss the size, portions, and the atmosphere.
And after years of service,
We appreciate you coming to see us one last time.
the biggest blessing the Lai family says is the support from the community.
We just appreciate them so much over these years, the support that we've gotten, and just it's been awesome.
Spent a lot of years getting to know a lot of people, and now it's just gonna be gone.
In Rockford,
This is sad. I know. I'm tearful.
for your 13 Weather Authority, I'm Devin Brooks.